Now, what is the view of Mukesh's grandmother? It is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother, who has watched her husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. The people in Firozabad are very conservative, very traditional, who thinks it is the destiny of the people of Firozabad that they are born in the family of bangle makers, and that is why it is their fate, their destiny to work as a bangle maker, means to work hard as a bangle maker. It has been going on from generation to generation. Mukesh's grandmother also believed they are destined to make bangle makers as it had been their family profession. They do not have any control over their destiny. She saw her husband become blind while working as a bangle maker because of being exposed to the dust from polishing the glass bangles that had been entered into the eyes of the poor bangle maker. Still, Mukesh's grandmother believed that the God given lineage cannot be broken. God given lineage here means the profession of bangle making that has been carried on through the generation of the family. It is an inheritance that is passed over from one generation to the other. They feel that their fate of becoming a bangle maker and to be born in a bangle making family has been decided by the god itself. So they have to carry on the profession of making bangles, which their ancestor has been doing for many, many years. All the family members of Mukesh, along with the bangle making community, had accepted their fate and made no effort to change it or even better it. That is why they are living in the same manner their forefathers had lived and were burdened by the same problems. It shows their helplessness. But Mukesh is an exception. Mukesh disapproved this belief that bangle making was his destiny just because he was born in the bangle making family. He wanted to change his destiny by choosing a new vocation and break the age old belief. Born into the family of bangle makers, not only Mukesh family, but every people in Firozabad have seen nothing but bangles, which are available in every dusty streets of Firozabad, in every house, in their own house, in yards everywhere. The town is filled with spirals of bangle of different colors, gold, paddy green, etc. Every color that can be seen in the rainbow are available. As you can see it in the picture, all the colors were available and the bangles were made in different colors. These glass bangles are kept in places where there is absolutely no cleanliness. They are kept in those untidy places in large quantity. The spiral of bangles are piled, means kept one upon the another, on the four-wheeled carts, which are pushed laboriously by young men along the narrow roads of the shanty town, the town that is very underdeveloped with no facilities at all, and the houses they live in is small, roughly built huts. Although the town is filled with beautiful bangles of different color, but the environment where these bangle makers work is very dangerous. As I have already told you, they worked in dark rooms, in the dark hutments, means dark and small huts with no proper lighting. Young boys and girls, all the children, would sit along with their fathers and mothers next to a line of an oil lamp whose flames are flickering. The, the flame of the oil lamps is unsteady. Sometimes the light of the flame becomes more and sometimes less. They weld the pieces of colored glass into circles of bangle. They, along with their parent, join the two ends of the colored glass into the circles and make bangles. As they spend lot of time in the dark, their eyes are not used to daylight hours and are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. Now, if you sit inside a dark room for a long time, and when we go out suddenly to the light outside, we start squinting our eyes because our eyes take time to adjust to such bright lights. This is what used to happen with the children. They used to spend their daytime inside these dark, dingy rooms, and that is why they often become blind, as their eyes were more adjusted to the dark. And that is why many of these children often lose their eyesight before they become adults. Furthermore, the dust from polishing the glass bangles also add to the risk of becoming blind. Now we can understand the pathetic working condition in which the children used to work. First of all, at this stage, they did not go to school. They accompanied their parents and helped them in making the glass bangles. And they also used to work in miserable conditions. The writer feels that in between this hardship, the children eventually lost the spring of their life, that is their childhood. Now the writer talks about a young girl named Sabita, and let us see what the narrator has to say about this girl. Sabita is a young girl and she is wearing a dress of dull pink color, drab. In your book, the word is given as drab. Drab means colorless and faded. She sits beside an elderly old woman, and they are doing the same thing. They are joining the pieces of glass by heating it, means shouldering, to make it a circle. They are also making bangles. The young girl's hands started moving mechanically like the tongs of machine. Like you switch on a machine tongs and it start moving as it has been programmed to move. Here the girl's hands are moving so fast, as fast as the tongs of the machine. She is working very fast and making bangles or joining the bangles by heating it, welding it. Seeing the girl's hand moving like a machine, the narrator wonders whether Sabita understands the sacredness and the importance of the bangle that she is making. Why these bangles are worn? What is the symbol of wearing bangles? Probably as a young girl, she is still unaware of the importance of bangles among the Indians. This is ironical that the young girl whose hands are moving mechanically and moving bangles is not aware of what is the importance of bangle. The bangles in India symbolizes auspiciousness, means sacredness for a married Indian woman. It is a tradition to wear bangles after marriage, as it represents Indian women's suhag, that is her wifehood. So the narrator wonders whether Sabita knows the importance of bangle or not. The narrator feels Sabita will surely realize suddenly one day the sacredness of the bangles she is making when she would herself become a bride. She will come to know at the time of her marriage. When she will get married, she will know about the importance of these bangles. That day, she would cover her head with red colored veil. Her hands will be colored with red henna, and she will be wearing red colored bangles on her wrist. Being a bride, she would perhaps experience or understand the beauty and the sacredness of red bangles that she has been making now, because now she is a young girl and one day she will get married, and on that day she will probably understand the importance and the sacredness of bangles and what importance it holds for Indian women. She will also get married like the elderly woman sitting beside her who got married many years ago. The elderly woman is still wearing bangles on her wrist, but there is no shine in her eyes. Her eyes indicates her helplessness as she lost hope in life. She says to the narrator in a very sad tone that she has never eaten even a single full meal in her entire lifetime. And the narrator satirically comments that what she has raped. Raped means to obtain as a result of effort. The narrator wants to say that this is what she has received in her lifetime after working so hard day and night. This is the benefit or the achievement she has received by adopting the profession of bangle making. They are not able to earn enough even to eat one full meal on a day. In spite of all the hardship, they have not been able to enjoy even one full meal in their entire lifetime. The husband of the elderly woman is an old man, and he says he knows nothing except how to make bangles. And this is the sad tale of most of the people living there that are involved in the profession of bangle making. And this is the reason why they are unable to escape from this, as they don't know anything else other than making bangles. All he could do in his entire lifetime is to make a house for his family to live. The house with crumbling walls and wobbly doors, which is not even properly constructed, is his only satisfaction, and that too is an achievement because his family have a shelter to live in. Hearing his words, one would wonder that probably the old man has achieved something, as there are many people who have not even been able to make a roof over their head after working hard in the Bengal industry. At least he has been able to secure a shelter for his family. The unhappiness in the lives of the bangle makers contrast the joy and happiness that their bangles will bring to the women who will buy them. These bangles have shining bright colors, but there is no color or joy in the life of the bangle makers. Their living condition, their earning from bangle making, and all their working conditions shows nothing but the fact that they live in the state of grinding poverty. Extreme poverty forces them to remain hungry despite years of hard labor. The author's conversation with them highlighted the fact that these people have given up all their efforts to improve their condition. Poverty and lack of education has trapped them into a vicious circle that seems impossible to escape from. The lack of money, nothing to do except bangle making, and not enough to eat is the sad condition that can be seen in every home of the poor bangle makers, and not only in Mukesh house. Poverty is prevalent in every other house. The problem that is not being able to break out of the shackles of bangle making industry is prevalent in all homes which carried on this profession of bangle making. The fact they don't know anything else except bangle making is the real cause of their plight. They have no money to start another business. Sadly and ironically, despite of putting so much of hard work, these bangle makers are not able to make sufficient money to fulfill all their needs, even their basic needs. They all live in a state of grinding poverty, the poverty that seems to be never ending, and there are no improvements, and especially no chance for the betterment in the lives of these people in Firozabad. Nothing had changed in the life of the poor Bengal makers. The condition and the standard of living is still the same all these years. The young men just complain about the same problem what has already been expressed by the elders, like they don't have money, they don't have food, etc. They did not have the resourcefulness of doing anything else because their fathers did not know, because the father did not do anything, their fathers did not have the means to educate them. As a result, they are stuck in the same profession. Years of mind-numbing toil have killed all their initiative and the ability to dream. The narrator here wants to say that these people have been toiling, means working hard for so many years, and have been working under such extreme condition that their mind is not able to think something new other than making bangles. They lost their ability to dream about their future. They have lost their inner urge to do something different or to take initiative to bring changes into their life for their own betterment or for betterment in the lives of the others. Years of hardship have killed all their hopes and dreams. Though laws have been made against child labor, but children still continue to work in the bangle making industry in Firozabad. But there is a difference in Mukesh. He is still able to dream. The social politics. Here we come to know what forces conspire to keep the workers, what forces keep the workers in bangle industry of Firozabad in poverty, why they cannot come out from this vicious circle. Why not organize yourself into a cooperative? I ask, means the narrator asks a group of young men who have fallen into this vicious circle of middlemen who trap their fathers and forefathers. The writer suggests the young men to get united and form a cooperative to come together, to come out of the vicious, means cruel circle of the middlemen, sahukaras means the money lenders, the policemen, the keepers of law, and the bureaucrats means the official, the government officials, and the politicians who have been exploiting them for so many years. To the suggestion of the narrator, the young men tell her that they would not dare to do something like that, because even if they get organized and put their heads together to rebel against this injustice and try to bring changes, they would be punished brutally by the policeman. They will be taken to the jail for doing something illegal. The policeman will trap them in false cases, and they will be beaten up by the police. The police will do all kind of cruelties on them if they ever dare to break this circle or form a cooperative. They are forced to remain in the same kind of situation forever. Their father and forefathers are also get trapped in this vicious circle of middlemen. You know what middlemen do? Middlemen take things from the buyer and they sell in another place in more higher prices. So in the way this bangle makers were being exploited by all this middleman. Okay, and this middleman is not alone. It is a circle, and this circle belongs of the sahukars, the policemen, the law keepers who keep them in this poverty and doesn't lend them to break this miserable state of poverty. The writer here highlights the fact that these people, the policemen, the middlemen, and all other people in power have joined hands to keep this worker in the bangle industry of Firozabad in poverty. They ensure that the condition of these people, means the bangle makers, remain unchanged, so that they can continue to get their work done at low cost. The writer feels, unfortunately, these young men who are trapped in this vicious circle do not have any good leader among them who could pull them out from this exploitation and guide them towards a right direction and help them to think in a different way so that they will be able to bring changes and improve their conditions. They need a leader who is educated, who is aware of the laws and injustice that has been going on for many years. Because of all this brutality and never-ending misery, the young men, like their fathers, have lost their ability to rebel any kind of injustice that has been meted out, that has been given out to them, and do something new. So they keep lamenting their condition, they keep crying about their condition. They have been repeatedly exploited, both physically as well as economically, for generations, and so are forced to live in a poverty. They keep on talking to the narrator in a spiral, talking about the same things. They keep on repeating the same things about the poverty they are in. Apathy means lack of concern and indifferent attitude towards their misery, greed of the people who are exploiting them, and the injustice that is being done on them. The policemen, the middlemen, and other people who employed them did not want to do anything for them to improve their condition, because if they do it, it would reduce their own profit margins, and hence injustice was done to these poor bangle makers. They talk continuously about these things to the narrator endlessly. There is another issue that has been brought up here, that is the caste, which is a stigma, which is dishonor. Listening to the poor bangle makers, Jung clearly sees two separate worlds in Firozabad. One, the family that is completely submerged in poverty burden by the stigma of caste in which they are born. Here, she is referring to the family of bangle makers who are suffering from extreme poverty, and because they are born into a caste of bangle making, they are forced to follow the traditional occupation and need to follow the God-given lineage of bangle making. The family suffers because of the caste they are born in. And the second is the vicious circle of sahukaras, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats, and the politicians, in which the poor bangle makers are trapped, who exploit them and force them to remain in poverty forever. They did not let them to form cooperatives or organize themselves to do something to uplift their standard of living. They are just not able to do anything because of this vicious circle. Together means the two world that is referring to by the narrator. They have impose means to force upon the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. She tries to say that both the children, both this world, two world, both these two world together have forced the child into the traditional occupation of bangle making, and the children have been given this baggage of bangle making and are burdened with the responsibility to carry on this family tradition, which they are not able to take it off. Before the child could understand anything and make efforts to come out from this situation, he accepts the burden as naturally as their fathers had, and continues to do the same thing what their fathers have been doing. There are true problems which have been highlighted here is their thinking and mentality of carrying on this God-given lineage, and other one is, even if anyone tries to break that, they cannot, because they are trapped in the vicious circle of sahukaras, politicians, and other people who are totally insensitive towards the suffering of these poor people, and the children are trapped in both this world. If a person in bangle making family wants to do anything else other than bangle making, they have to have courage. They have to dare to do something else. But daring has not been a part of the upbringing of the children in Firozabad. But when the writer sees a small amount of courage in Mukesh, who dares to do something else, she gets encouraged. With Mukesh, a hopes get renewed because he dares to dream. The author notices a spark in Mukesh of doing something different from what the whole family is doing. When Mukesh repeats, "I want to be a motor mechanic," and he will go to a garage and learn. Though the garage is a long way from his home, he will walk. Mukesh did not resign to his fate, whereas years of mind-numbing toil has killed others' ability to dream in Firozabad. He stood out with a positive attitude which was so different from that of his family members. Mukesh was ready to work hard and walk to the garage, which was far away from his house, in order to fulfill his dream of becoming a motor mechanic, and will learn to drive a car. He had the courage to break free from the family lineage of bangle making and is determined to be his own master. He is not only an ambitious person, but rational and practical as well. Because when the author asks him if he has a dream of flying an aeroplane too, Mukesh replied no, staring at the ground. He knows his limit. In his short answer, the author could sense a discomfort or embarrassment because he knows that his dream of becoming a motor mechanic and learning to drive a car are not very big, but the dream that he sees is very much attainable. So he is satisfied and is not regretful at all. Knowing all his limit, he doesn't dream of flying aeroplanes. He is satisfied with the more tangible and attainable dream related to the cars that moves very fast down the streets of Firozabad. So Mukesh never dreamed of flying a plane. Planes were a far-fetched reality. He knows flying a plane is beyond his reach and beyond his means. Aeroplanes symbolize something distant, just like a far-fetched dream. People of Firozabad were not exposed to grand dreams like that. He is very grounded, and the dream he has seen is within his approach. So if he keeps his willpower and he tries to break away from the tradition, he will be able to achieve his dream. As anyhow, somebody has to take the initiative. Somebody has to take the first step. And that is why the author seems to be very happy when she comes to know that Mukesh wants to become a motor mechanic, She is happy that at least somebody is still there who can dare to dream, which might pave the way for others also. So here we see, in spite of the environment Mukesh was living in and with no support from his family, Mukesh was very much determined to be his own master and had a burning desire to break the age-old tradition to work as a bangle maker throughout his life. He chooses his own vocation, he chooses his own dream, a path, that is to become a motor mechanic and learn how to drive a car.